Welcome to the Big Base Scout building episodes. This is an episode about flywheel screwing. I got them mounted, and remember, I've been told they are true and ready to mount. I could see when I put them in the cases that they are not really true. Actually, they have a quite big tolerance when turning around. So I decided to mount them in my lathe. This is a very small lathe. This is really the maximum of a flywheel that can spin in this lathe. It's like it was designed to fit this flywheel now. A short recap: I'm using VL750 Harley flywheels with Harley rods with special shafts made to fit the Harley flywheels and the engine cases. I just finished building the custom thrust washers, and now I was fixing the flywheel between two cones, and I will rotate it and see where we have the maximum point, where we have the minimum point, and then think about how we have to hammer the flywheels so they get trued. I don't know how it's told correctly. A very important thing, if you do this on a lathe, when you put the cones to the flywheel, don't push very hard, because it will force the flywheel to bounce, and then you do everything wrong. You just have to feel when it's really not playing anymore and not tighten more than that. Ten lines like this are 0.1 millimeter. So now the flywheel has on this side 0.25 millimeters, and over here 0.2 millimeters. I will go now to the maximum right point and note it. Then I will check the maximum left point and note it also. It is good if they are on the same size. It's easier to true. If not, I will show you how I do this. I have noted the highest points over here. I'm measuring on the shafts, but I'm noting on the flywheels. If these are the highest points we are measuring now, that means the shaft, the end of the shaft is going down a little bit. What I have to do now is open up the flywheel from down and check it again after. I will probably use something conical and a hammer to do this, and after that I will recheck again if it's getting smaller, the play. So for this part we have two ways. We can use some levers to open this up, but I like more with a choke. So I put the hammer in here, and like this you will also see how good your mounting is on the rod bushing. If this goes too slow, this was a very slow hit. If it goes too slow, something is not good. So let's see if we have at least 0.05 better truing. Going down and then coming up again. So the rod shaft is very good tightened. It has very good grip. That is a good sign. Nothing happened. I will hammer it now one more time, but a little bit harder. Now I will apply a stronger hammer on this. So this was stronger. Let's see if it's good, better, or too much. It's three ways always. It is already way better. This was just a thing of pure luck to hit one hammer and go this good. What I could see now, it's in the same area, the plus. It should be here where I noted it, on the top where the rod is also mounted, but it moved right after. You see, it's still going up, and here it starts to go down. So the maximum plus moved around here. This is on one side. Let's see what's happening on the other side. It's maybe a little bit more to the front, the plus. But the play is greater than on the other side. Here we still have 0.1 millimeter. That's a lot. Okay, so I will take it out again and hammer it again on the opposite side of these pluses. It will not be the same place. So that strong hammer was doing a lot. I will have to calibrate my torque hammering wrench. Okay, we have the pluses here. I will put exactly the pluses under here, and now another hit, but way slower than the other one. Ooh, I think it was a lot. It felt like a lot. I don't know. Let's check it. So the hammer was not too hard. It was actually a hammer that was adjusting 0.01 millimeters. You can see now it isn't 5 units anymore, it's 4 units. So it's in the same position. So the plus stayed. I noted the new minus, so I know where to hammer. It's this one. Wait. Should be here. And I will check this also on the other side. It is quite a big difference, so I'm afraid this flywheel was not trued on the shaft before it was mounted. And now I want to check that. How I will do that, I will take out the shaft, mount it into this part here, and try to spin it and see how this flywheel is reacting comparing to this shaft here. Unfortunately, it's not possible for me to center the axle while I have it here, so I will mount it again between cones and measure the shaft, measure the flywheel also, and see what the differences are, so I can hammer the shaft in the flywheel and moving it the way I want. Also checking this side, so I'm sure it's the same mounting and the mounting is correct and everything is good. Now I will mount this clock on the flywheel and I will try to see what the differences are between the shaft and the flywheel. I was measuring the difference between this shaft and the flywheel, and the flywheel has 0.4 millimeter differences and this one has only 0.1. I will have to hammer, I want to hammer only the shaft in the flywheel from the side where I have the minus point, the extreme minus point, maximum minus point. I will hammer it direction to the plus point and let's see what will happen. So this is the minus maximum point. This is the shaft that is not sitting correctly. I'm using a very weak aluminium to do this. I will do it on the part where the gear is sitting. And let's see if this helps with anything. The shaft tolerance didn't change very much, but I'm happy to see that the tolerance on the flywheel, between the flywheel and the shaft, got smaller. From 4-5 tenors that I could measure, it is now 3 tenors, 3.5. So I will hit it again exactly in the same place. So we adjust the hitting wrench again. It should be a little bit harder than last time. Yes, let's check now. I'm first checking the shaft and it looks like the tolerance gets smaller, so we are in the right direction. It's not 0.1, it's 0.08 of a millimeter now, so that if that got better, the other one on the flywheel should get better too now. This other one also got a little bit better, but exactly as less as the other one. So what I want to do now is hammer it again and recheck. Oops, I put it wrong. That would have been something to hammer the other side that is perfectly centered. Another one. Very good thing I did. First I was scared because I could see the tolerance got higher than it was, but I have here 0.1 millimeter tolerance on the shaft and 0.2 millimeters tolerance on the flywheel. But the good thing is the pluses are exactly in the same point as on the shaft, and the minuses exactly on the same spot as the shaft, also on the flywheel. That means I can put back the two clocks. That means that the shaft is aligned with the flywheel now. I can put back now the clocks on the other ends because I'm sure my hammer here was affecting also the flywheel alignment, and now redo the flywheel alignment. Now we have the maximum plus point of the drive shaft flywheel here and the maximum point of the, sorry, this is the timing shaft, this is the drive shaft flywheel in a different place. So I will take the middle of them and hammer it from the other side. Last hammer didn't do much, so I will go for a little bit more. It got smaller, the play, with 100 of a millimeter, so Plus is up center. I will hit it one more time. And check. Just watch as this speed is rolling. So right now I have less than 0.01 play. It's not one measurement, so that is really good. The factory is giving in millimeters 0.05 of a millimeter allowable play. So this is very close to zero, and I will try, maybe I will get to zero, but you will always risk making it more bad than it is. I never got to make one in zero, but the best one was the last one that I made from my Scout 500cc that had 1/100th of a millimeter play, or 1.5. This has less, so probably 0.5 of a millimeter, that I think is very good, and I'm very proud of this result. Now my plus points were getting wider and wider, also the tolerance is getting smaller and smaller. So I'm now at 2/100th of a millimeter on each side, and I think I can still hammer it one time until they go to 0.1 or less, and they align perfectly, the pluses and the minuses of each other. Then it's just the machinery of each flywheel that I cannot control from the beginning, and 0.1 or 0.2 would be perfect, because the factory says 0.05 millimeters. I'm talking about hundredths now of a millimeter. I have under 0.01 of a millimeter, and on this side it's 0.02 millimeters. So 2/100ths of a millimeter on one side, half on the other side. It's perfect. Next, in the next video, I will try to balance the flywheel with one piston mounted on it. I hope this was useful for you. I also have another video with doing the 741 Scout flywheel. I will put a link in the description. If you like this, subscribe to see more videos from the workshop.